Welcome back to Honey Badger 3D Print and Paint. Today, X-Men Part 2. But before we do that, quick word from our sponsors and roll those credits.
PCBWay are proud sponsors of the channel. They offer industry-leading 3D printing services covering all types of materials and processes. They also offer industry-leading online CNC machine services from milling, machining, and turning in all the materials you could possibly need. They also offer a fully online prototyping PCB service. Everything from assembly through to design, you can do it all online with an easy system to use for quality. So for all of your needs, check out PCBWay in the link in the video description.
Right, now as promised, you'll see in the last video I did a Professor X. Now we've got Beast. Now when I was doing Beast, I thought to myself, he's a big old boy. But looking at him in relation to the scale of Professor X, it's correct. Beast is a big old beast. So yeah, he's large, but he's the correct scale. This printed. Right. This printed, the base on this, there's two bases for this. There's a big base, which is like a big sentinel head. And then it's got a base underneath that. And there's fire coming out the sentinel. I didn't do that. For the simple fact, I never think fire on a base looks realistic. No matter how good you are at doing it. For very small miniatures, it can look really realistic. But as soon as you're doing it on something this size, fire doesn't look realistic. I don't like it. Doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't look realistic. So the smaller base, which is an option that Wicked do with some models, had broken parts of the sentinel instead of the whole head. It was missing the large triangle base, but what's more, no fire. So that's what I went with. You'll see again, as I mentioned in another video, the actual base disc on this I've done in that blackest black. It just sort of disappears and leaves you just the colour detail. There is a large rock on here, which I'll be honest, I don't necessarily quite understand, because like the back of it is like broken part of the sentinel, but the front is a bit of rock, so I'm not really sure. Now Beast printed in 3 parts, and one part was quite a long print. So the legs printed as one piece, and they actually printed standing up like in that position there, and they printed at the same time as the head. I think that was maybe 21 hours, I think it was, something like that. The torso is actually very wide. So when it printed, it had to print more sort of standing up sideways, which made that like a 29, 30 hour print. But as always, I did this again on my Magforms P13 and it's flawless. Perfect. Press print, walk away, come back sometime later. It may be done, it may not, but you know it's going to be perfect. With Wicked, again, they've started doing these whole piece models, so there's no join lines on the arms, there's no join lines for the legs onto the waist. The torso join line is buried into the shorts, so there's no join line now. The head always fits perfect. So you get a model that's join free, and I like that. Painting this. So to start with a base, I had some metallic colours, which are pretty close to the actual sentinel colours. Now, when I looked at this, especially this purple piece, there's a hell of a lot of scratches on the model, like designed into the model. Usually, I'd paint this and then I'd go over the scratches with like a silver, but you never truly get a scratch effect because it always comes out a bit thicker than you'd want it to. So what I did, I painted the entire thing silver. I then the airbrush and I sprayed over Vallejo chipping medium. Let that dry. I then went over it with a metallic sort of purple colour. Let that dry. What you then do is then go over it with just water and a brush, wet the whole thing up. That livens up the chipping medium. And then I used an old airbrush needle and I scratched along all the scratches. And what happens is it scratches off that purple layer just to reveal the silver that you've previously sprayed. And as well as the big scratches, you can scuff it up a bit, you know, like little knocks and that all over it. And what you end up with is a real authentic scratched up metal. And I really, really like the way that came out. I'll show you that on the close-ups, which we'll do now. So you'll see it really comes out as an effective scratched up metal look. Now, beast. Painting beast. I've never painted a blue skin tone before. Unless you've done a beast, you probably really haven't. What I did is I got out a selection of blues going from dark to really light. And a blue wash I had. I started with the darkest and I base coated the entire thing. I then got the next darkest and I did this all entirely with dry brush. What I did is I went over first in all the shadowed areas with this dark blue. So it was lighter than the base colour but still really pretty dark. I then got the next blue and I came up just a bit more and sort of graded from shadow just sort of coming into the light. So you've got that blend darker to a little bit lighter. I then went for another blue and did the same thing again. So you could see it was dark coming to light until I got 3/4 of the way round. The last quarter I used much lighter blues to highlight that it's in light. I then chose a different light blue just to highlight the actual fleur flicks in certain areas. And then once I'd done that, I went over it with a blue wash to sort of blend everything together and make a smoother blend. And then I touched up some of the bits with the highest highlight again, just to pick them out. With the head, I just went a bit lighter than I did the rest of the body around the face, and then I used a very, 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 it's a pinky colour, but I dry brushed. But what I did is I really run that brush out so there was barely anything on there, and I just sort of added a bit of pink to say the cheeks and the nose, and just to highlight them higher parts of the face. Obviously I did the inside of the mouth as well. I did that in a much darker sort of pinky red, and the teeth and everything like that. What I will say is I really enjoyed painting this. I've always wanted to do a beast, And I've always been put off with the fact, oh, how am I going to do the skin tones with blues? And I've always put it off. And it was, you know, sort of last week, I thought, you know what, no, I'm going to do Beast. And I'm so happy with the way this came out. So happy with the way it came out. It's just how I wanted it to look. Size-wise is perfect for me. Perfect. Sits well with everything on my shelves. It's a really nice model. I really like it. Well done, Wicked. Again, with a great model. Now, I did a trio of Batman enemies. So I think it's only right I do a trio of X-Men. And I've already got the next one printing. Now, it's going to be a little bit longer, this one, because in between doing this, I've got some stuff I need to do. And we're going to a show in the UK, so we'll be filming at that. Whether we've gone yet or whether we're back and you've already seen the video, who knows? I don't know when this is going to be released, and I don't know when the video that we're going to be filming at the TCT show is going to be released. So you'll be able to comment which one came first in the comments of one of the videos. So don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free. It's amazing value for yourself. And we'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.